Okay, I'm ready. What is your first question?
Okay. My first question is about potential children in the future.
Mhm.
I guess the question is, are there children? Am I going to have children in the future, in the near future?
Okay, cool. So I'm already getting a yes. I'm hearing two or three. And they want to actually tell you about them. So let's see what they say about your children. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. The mother card. That's amazing. All right. Okay, so they're saying start with the mountain. Hello, and welcome to another opportunity for us to share our wisdom and our guidance with you at this present now moment. We are honored that you would seek our counsel and excited to share our wisdom and our guidance with you. So, they're re-emphasizing that yes, there are two or three children that are in your future, and it kind of just depends on different choices that you make in life. You know what I mean? Like they don't want you to feel like it's three, bitch, get them through the shoot down, down. Like, it's not that,
Exactly.
not that at all. But what they're showing me is that the journey that you're on the ascent of the mountain, and the point is not even to get to the peak. The point is just to get to a plateau, a place where you feel like, okay, from this level, no matter what comes after, I'm good with where I'm at. um, because that is the kind of energy that that you did all this work for, to be able to bring children into that kind of energy. And they're showing me that you're in like the first third of the trip, so there's still like two-thirds of the trip to go. I mean, you got to finish
Mhm.
the first third, but then there's still another two-thirds before you get to that level. But they're saying most of all, they just want you to know that there's no need to rush, there's no need to stress. Everything is in the time that it's supposed to happen, and they don't want you to feel like, if I don't have kids by 36, like something's wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
that. Because they said that once you have children, so much of your energy will be devoted to them that it's almost like moving forward it will be more difficult. Even picture, they're showing me like a mother possum, where she has all the babies on her back, and so she can go, but she can only go as fast as she can go carrying six of her kids. So it's kind of like you really want to make sure that whatever point you're at, you're like, all right, I feel good at where I'm at. If I were to go no further, I feel good and happy where I am. So
Mm.
this one next. So they're saying run fast, run hard. Like this period right now that you're in right now is for you. Like this is the you time. A lot of women in our generation and previous generations had to back end this you journey. So they'd start with the kids and then they do the you journey. Um,
Right.
and you've chosen to start with the you journey and end with the kids, which honestly they feel is the healthier way, because then
Mhm.
you have the benefit of your youth. Like everyone says, like having children is so hard when you're old. It's not that. It's that you feel the weight of, I'm going to die soon and I haven't done the me thing.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
that's really what
Mhm.
the weight is. So they're saying run fast, run hard, all the things that you dream about, all the things that you desire to do. Like don't wait, go do those things now, because your priorities will change in a really beautiful way, in a maturing way once you have children. And so they want you to feel like you've done the things that you wanted to do, as like you're naturally moving into the next phase, like the same way as like when you go to college, right? You go away to college, like, okay, I'm ready to take this next step. I'm not gonna want to go to high school prom once I'm in college, type of thing.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so now they want to tell you about the children. First they're showing me a little boy. um there's I'm asking if this is the birth order, and they said that doesn't really matter. But first, they're showing me a little boy, big eyes, big, really bright eyes, creative, very intuitive. He's coming in with a lot more feminine energy than masculine energy, and your job is to cultivate that. A lot of boys are being born with more feminine energy than masculine energy, because in order to correct the imbalance right now between the masculine and
Mm.
feminine, we need more boys that will carry the feminine energy and protect it from a knowing versus like a masculine protection type energy.
Yeah.
And so your role in his life is to nurture him, to show him what unconditional love is, but most of all, to be a type of woman that he can look up to and look for in his future partners. You're really setting a standard for him, um, where he will be able to hold space for the chaos and the magic that a woman can really be, instead of trying to make her be into, like, a domestic housewife type of deal.
Snap, snaps to that.
Next is showing me a little girl. She feels older than the first little boy. Um, wow, sassy. I'm feeling vibrant. I'm hearing clever in a way that's like snap quick, like
Mm,
like um in older generations they'd say she'd have a smart ass mouth and they would punish her for it. Um, but she's not. She's actually very smart, and she's not going to just take people's word for it. So she's going to question people. If people are wrong, she's going to point that out. And again, your role is to cultivate that in her, right? Like, she needs to learn how to get along with others, but not to the point where she crushes her spirit, not to the point where she silences her truth because she doesn't want to hurt people's feelings.
mm,
Um,
mhm.
and so that's going to be really important. And they said you're going to have a lot of fun with her if you look at it from, this is a little human that I
Yeah,
am tasked with loving, versus this is my daughter and I have to mold her. There's no molding of any of these children have to do.
yeah.
Um, and then the last one I'm seeing is a boy, and he's older than the other two.
Mm,
I'm hearing stoic, like he carries a burden. He's
mm,
oh, this is gonna make me cry.
mm,
He's coming in because on a soul level, he's been through a lot, and he's gonna need the love that you're going to be able to show him to be able to open his heart. So this is not the first time that he's been here on Earth, but this is the life where he gets to heal. And so they're saying you can
wow.
look at it from two different ways. In one way, you could look at him like he's a difficult child. On the other hand, you could look at it like, this child has been so traumatized, his heart is closed, and my job is to love him relentlessly until he feels
Mm,
like it's safe to open. It's He's not going to be able to give back as much in the beginning, just because he's in such a soul traumatized place. He's not going to trust people. um, like, they're saying that the first 3, 6, 9 months are going to be so key to developing a bond where he can trust you. And it's really important that happens, that when you speak to him, you're speaking to him as if he is, I mean, he is like an adult. Not an adult, but like a person understands,
yeah,
even that young. When you're doing things, let him know what you're doing. Like over communicate. Let him know every step so that he can understand, because that is going to be the basis on everything else. If he doesn't have that bond and that trust with you, he's not going to be able to continue to open, because that first mother's bond trust is going to be so important. The other two children feel way lighter, um,
mm,
way more independent. They came in with things to do, but
mm,
this child came in to heal, and there's a big difference between the two. It feels like this boy is going to be the first one, the one that needs to heal, and they're doing that on purpose. He's coming in first because it's going to require a lot of energy, but then after that it
right,
gets easier, type of thing.
right,
Um,
right.
and they're not really talking about the father of these children. All these children are coming in mainly to be your children. Like, there's children that get tied to the mother's soul or to the father's soul. These are children that are clearly tied to your soul. And it almost doesn't matter what partner you pick in terms of DNA or biology or things like that. But it really does matter the dynamic of your relationship, because that's going to help shape what those children view as healthy relationships.
Mm,
So it's really
yeah,
important the man you pick respects you and sees you as a sovereign being, all the things that we know, but
yeah.
don't sell yourself short in any of those areas, and challenge if you're not seeing that, because it's so fucking important.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow.
Wow. I have chills. Um, that was very powerful and resonates so much with my vision, in a sense, like the intuitive vision that I feel like I've had about potential children. So,
Yeah.
wow. Um, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but anyway, that thank you. Thank you. Thank my spirit guides for sharing that with me. Um, I've been like very much feeling this mother energy recently.
Yeah.
However, like you mentioned, sometimes that feels like it's almost in conflict rather than in relationship with this other part of myself, which is very hungry for life and getting as much out of it as I can, and really centering my needs and really nourishing my desires, and sometimes being nervous about like taking that next step, into motherhood at the risk of sacrificing my own sense of individuality and an ability to kind of like be mobile in the world. So I know I'm not there yet. So this was like confirmation that I felt the climb up the mountain, but I know I'm not quite steady
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
you
yeah, like
know?
you're pacing, yeah. While you
Yeah.
were talking, they said 8 to 10 years. Like you're gonna
Oh
be,
my goodness.
yeah, yeah. So they want you to know like you have time and don't feel like you are sacrificing your experience because you literally have these 8 to 10 years to figure it out, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Really at the beginning
mm,
of this journey.
yeah. Wow. Very illuminating. Yeah.
Oh, illuminating is good. I like illuminating.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um,
question.
okay, next question. I've never explored this before, so this will be very new for me, but wondering about past lives that
Mhm.
I might have experienced, and if my spirit guides want to communicate, I don't know, any specific experience that I might have had in past lives that is informing my way of being in this life.
That's a great question. They said yes. Let me take these. Okay, so they said just these 4 cards. Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
well.
Okay. Make sure to follow on the. Okay. Actually, move these up because that light is so bright. Okay. Okay. There you go. All right. So we're gonna start with this one. So the first thing I heard when I touched this card was Master of None. I don't know what that means. So give me a second. Master of One. So they're saying that basically you came into this life um, pursuing unity. That's really the theme word for this life, and it ties together all the progression of your soul over the different lives that you've had have been working towards this one. Because before you can have unity of family, you have to have unity of self. Before you can have unity of relationship, you have to have unity of self, right? And so
Mm,
that has been the journey that your soul has been over the different lifetimes that you've had. And they're saying that there's not very many, but they want to talk about two in particular today. There's one of a woman and one of a man.
mm,
So I'm going to talk with the man first. So I'm hearing you were a sage, a philosopher, you were a dreamer. You were someone. They're showing me like an Asian man with white hair and a top knot and like one of those really long like white beards. like
oh, okay. Cute.
like you younger. They're showing me like you at that age with like really heavy like silk robes, velvet robes. Like definitely a man of stature and a man of value. Um,
Mm,
it, they're saying that you consulted with dynasty kings, like the emperors of the time,
mm,
kind of help them guide because they said that the force that it takes to lead a kingdom is like the type of person that would be good to lead a kingdom is not the same as the person that's wise enough to like carry the emotional and spiritual growth of a kingdom. And so back in the time when they had a king and a court, they knew that, and so you were one of the consultants, the high consultant that the emperor will go to for matters of spirituality, matters of like fairness, of morality, you know what I mean? Like you guys really together in tandem set up the spiritual blueprint, moral blueprint for for the people that you oversee and took care of.
mm,
And that was important. That was an important lifetime for you because that's where you learned unity of self. This was not a life that you shared with anyone else. In order to be a clear channel, you had to keep yourself isolated. You couldn't have wants or needs of other people, so all of your needs are taken care of, but you basically were alone a lot of the time to just focus on that channel and bring in that divine wisdom that you could share it. And it wasn't a negative thing. You took your job very seriously, and excuse me, you took your job very seriously, and you were able to really focus, and you loved the pursuit of knowledge that you were able to bring down. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, so that's what that life was. So that's where you got unity of self. And then this is the one of the female. Ooh, I'm getting warrior queen vibes.
Okay.
Faster. I'm hearing like Viking, Nordic, like really like on the battlefield, like leather bindings on her arms, like riding a horse, like
Mm,
carrying like it doesn't seem like it was a sword. It seems like it was more like a bow or a crossbow type of thing that you fought with. Um, and you led your people as well. You had a husband, but he was more of your consort than he was like a leader of your equal type of thing.
mm,
And that's where you learned unity over a group of people that was your family. Like you really treated them like a mother would care for cubs type of thing.
mm,
You weren't able to really relax into your feminine because any sign of weakness, and your kingdom would be taken by one of the other men that ran kingdoms.
mm,
Um,
mm,
so this was a different kind of strength because in this one you did have a family, in your family, it's like with the king and the emperor and the consultant, it felt more of like a detachment, like you had people that carried out on a more one-on-one basis these decrees. You guys kind of just did the strategy, the like upper level stuff, but she was like with her people. Like I see you walking through the camps, like talking to people. Everyone knew who you were, very much feet on the ground.
mm,
And it's not queen over like, I'm not feeling like a huge kingdom. It just feels like a pretty decent sized community. Um,
mhm,
it feels like you guys were nomadic, and it doesn't feel luxurious at all. It feels like tents, on the mud, and
right.
like furs and things like that, like winter, like all of that stuff.
Mm,
But that really taught you strength of character. That really taught you strength of character. And so now you're tying that all together, right? How can I be up in the trees, and
mhm,
see the vision for the future? How can I also be down on the ground and influence people on
mm,
a personal level where they respect me and love me, and I can respect and love them back and have that one-on-one relationship, and not be too distant, because they're saying like, especially within your family structure, there's a level of emotional distance that exists there, and
mm,
it's not that there's not love, it's just that it's not the deep kind of like love that you can like relax into and be like, okay, no matter what, you know what I mean, like no matter
mm,
what, like I don't have to do anything, I can just kind of be, and that's what you're trying to bring down for your family.
mm.
So then this card came back up. So they're saying that in all of your lives you didn't necessarily play on the light side, like there were some, like they're saying in that queen life, sometimes you had to do things that were like shady, or like, you know what I mean, like you basically had to get a foot in wherever you could because you really were playing with a stack deck type of thing. um
Mm,
and so but it's not a bad thing because you have to understand this in order to move into this.
mm,
You
mhm,
got to
mhm,
accept this part of you. And really, all that matters is that you hold those things in balance, because it's kind of like if you're just all in the light and you're like, oh, no one can do any wrong to me. Like everything's okay, everything's great. It's like that's not realistic.
yeah.
So they're saying you are doing a really good job of owning your shadow, and figuring out ways to let it work with you and for you, and channel that into the light expression that you want to be.
Mm,
So they really are actually like applauding you and saying that you're doing a really great job because it's not easy, but all of these past life things have come into play with this.
oh, I'm so glad that they're affirming that because that shit is so hard. It's been so hard. That shadow work stuff, but that's really been such a focus, particularly this past year. So, um, wow, that is really neat to hear in a lot of ways. Wow, very, very, very aligned. Also, everything that you are saying that the spirit guides are communicating, it all complements like what I've been working on in therapy. It's all just like
Wow, that's so cool.
it just is a constant confirmation that these underlying forces exist in the world. And anyway,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful cohesion. Do we have time for one more, or are we at time now?
Of course, it's your birthday. We have time for one
Okay, thank you.
more.
Um, okay, I think my last question is more just like about my spirit guides themselves.
Ooh,
Because I kind of just want to know who they are. Is that too like general of a question?
no.
Um, yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
So they're saying that there's five of them, and there's going to be
Hmm.
oracle cards to show you. Vessel. There's that mountain again. Wow, it's a web again.
Hmm.
And the father. Okay. So we're just gonna go through them one at a time. Actually, I'll stack them.
Okay.
Okay, so this has very heavy like archangel energy.
Hmm.
I thought it was Michael, but it's actually Raphael, Archangel Raphael. Um, for me, he holds the healing energy. Like he really is an amazing healer. For you, he comes in. Damn, he's really like helping to support you on that emotional burden level. You know, like he's
Hmm.
the one that helps bring you back to center, helps you with emotional regulation, helps you with all of that, and also gives you the wisdom. Like he gives you little intuitive hits on how to deal with difficult situations when you find yourself in them.
Hmm.
um, and he's the main one. Later on, he'll play less of a role once you've kind of taken over and like really solidified these messages. But he's the one helping you mainly with this trek up the mountain because it requires a lot of energy, and so he's there with you a lot. Oh, and look, the sky is green. That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
The father. So immediately I got Christ consciousness, like Yeshua vibes.
Hmm.
Very strong Jesus type vibes. Um, And that's pretty interesting because he's talking more about the divine union with you and your partner. Like that's where he really comes into play. There's a lot of training books. I'll send you some of them that I loved after the session. I'll text them to you. But um, Yeshua and Mary Magdalene were twin flames, divine partners, and they helped each other on an energetic level. Like they would have sex and she would literally recharge him energetically through like tantra energy.
Hmm.
Maybe
Hmm.
they had the word for it. And so this is not like your standard Christian Jesus Christ type thing. This is like way like Christ consciousness, like you're saying like 12th dimension type vibes.
Wow.
And he helps you with your relationship with Isaiah with Isaiah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he helps a lot. And also with later on, it feels like before I said you guys would be public, you guys would be like sharing your life with people so they could witness your dynamic and things like that.
Hmm.
He's gonna come in much stronger then to help you channel in information to share and like it feels like you're gonna be working for yourself, like with your own business type of thing. And so he's gonna help you with like that kind of content stuff, which is heavy, heavy vibes. I love that for you.
Yeah, that is very much a part of my vision. That's awesome.
So this, I heard Lilith, which is pretty interesting because she's kind of like the dark feminine. And so there's been a lot of, I mean, man, they have dogged women out and just dogged about in all of history. They
Right.
did a little bit to find her true story, but hers was one of basically not taking shit from men, like finding her own power, using that power to build everything that she wanted.
Hmm.
They show this dark side because she kind of found her power a little too late. And so she had a lot of anger and resentment and therefore
Hmm.
vengeful.
Hmm.
But in this lifetime, through helping you, it's kind of how she's like kind of redeeming her soul. Like she's doing the work to help other women kind of really find that power, not be afraid of it, even though men can be afraid of it, right? Like being surprised that you're smart or being surprised, you know what I mean? Like those weird things that men do. Like she's the one that really helps you with that confidence part. and she's learning to embody this side, and through working with people like you, she it helps her just as much as she, you know what I mean? You
Mm.
guys help each other type of thing. It's
I
pretty
feel her a lot. Yeah.
really, that's so cool. That's so cool. So this feels like the void, like chaos, like basically like chaos also has been given a really bad rap. But it's in chaos that you have all the elements of everything you could ever need to create whatever you want. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So if you look at it from
Yes.
that perspective, whenever, because as you wipe away this web and build a new one and wipe it away and build a new one, you're gonna get really familiar, or you would be best served by getting really familiar with chaos and finding comfort in it and knowing like when everything falls apart, that's when I can start building quickly. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I don't have to navigate around anything. I can just completely start a new web type of
Yeah.
thing. So don't be afraid to let things go. It feels like in your business, you're going to be really good at doing a lots of different things.
Mm.
I want you to really let your heart guide you. You know, like it's not that, oh my gosh, this one thing made me money and is really successful, so therefore I have to do that till I die. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
not that. You do it until the soul is not there anymore and then you move on, you know? And that's
Yeah.
not really a lesson or a message that people are receiving nowadays. And it really needs to be out there because you can tell when the heart goes out of something, you know? And
Yeah.
that's when people start getting bored and start getting fucked up. So you're saying don't be afraid to, you know, when a web is done, it's done and move on to the next one.
Yeah. Wow.
The last one, oh, it's a trio. It's all three of the kids. Um,
Oh.
they're kind of like they're kind of like your cheerleaders. Like they like sending you little cute things, like little like flowers or like numbers. They like playing with numbers, like repeating numbers. Just kind of like, yeah, go, you can do it type of thing. Like they like that. They like sending you little synchronicities where things just work out, like just little things to make your day go really nicely, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and they really feel really strongly about picking you as a mom. Like they really were careful about who they wanted to come down and be children for, because all this on a soul level is like they don't want to waste time, you know. So they really
Mm-hmm.
careful, and I think that's interesting that it's the vessel and it shows a woman, you know.
Wow. And also the trio piece, like three is a number that's always been very resonant with me.
Wow, that's so cool.
And then like my birthday is 3/3. Like, I don't know. That's
Wow, you're right. I just got chills. That's so
right.
that is so
So,
cool.
wow.
Wow, and 27 is a 9, which is division of 3. You could go all day.
For real. Don't even get me started. I'm gonna start finding all the synchronicity.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, so these are the guides that are most prevalent on your team right now. And they kind of like you basically like people more guides will come in as you need them and they'll, you know, transition out,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? But you're
Yeah.
always guided, always protected.
Wow. Ah, that's beautiful. Always been curious, never been like brave enough to really ask. Who are
Wow.
y'all?
I mean, hell of a lineup. The fucking Void, man. Like, Lilith is bomb as hell. Jesus and Archangel
What?
Raphael. Like, come on.
The dream team.
I just got hell of a dream team. I love that for you.
Yeah, me too. Wow. This has been so like nourishing, beyond nourishing, really. I just don't have the language, but this has just been exactly what I wanted to like ground myself going into the new year. And we also talked a little bit about past life stuff. So I've been getting more curious about that. And I saw that you also offer a service around that. So I think I might want to like dig in a little deeper with that soon.
Yeah, 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 coming through. There's two. There's one that's a soul story, and that's more like a therapy side of things where it's like, I'm
Mm,
going through something. I need to see the lives that are most applicable to this. And then
mhm,
past life regression, that has been crazy lately. I've gotten a lot of people that get activated, like their spiritual gifts get activated, you know, they get clearings, like energy clearings. They are told their gifts, they're told their future type of thing. So whatever you feel
wow.
drawn to is the right thing for you. So
Yeah. Ah, thank you so much, Lauren. I
of
mean,
course, it's always a
you were
pleasure.
you were such a vessel, such a beacon of light. Thank you for like
Yeah,
offering your services to the world. It's
of
beautiful.
course, of course. I'm so happy, and I'll see you next year. Or maybe before.
Yeah, yeah. If not, probably before then, for sure. So I'll see you soon.
Okay. Happy birthday and have a good rest of your
Thank
night. Okay.
you. Thanks. You
Bye.
too. Bye.